In roughly May or June of 2020, Amazon changed the way the BSR works on variations. It used to be that each ASIN, regardless of it being part of a variation set or not, had its own individual BSR. But since then, they basically combined the BSR reading of all the parent-child ASIN set into one BSR reading. So if an ASIN, let's say, had 200 sales per month at 70,000 BSR, and it was combined with another ASIN with 100 sales per month at 110K BSR, the sales per month would be 300 for that variation, and the BSR wouldn't be 80,000 or 110,000 anymore, it might be 50,000. Now the 50,000 applies to both ASINs in this variation. So now it's up to you to understand and decide which variation gets how many sales. You can also see this on a lot of keeper charts. Go back to around May of 2020 and see the huge down spike on a lot of ASINs which are part of variations. This means that a product with a killer BSR, let's say 5,000 in health and household, which is around 4,500 sales per month, it might look like a great ASIN to buy, but if it's part of a variation set of 50 or 100 different ASINs, it might be a completely different story. It might only sell 50 units, for example. There are instances where one particular ASIN in a set of 5 might get 95% of all the sales. In this video, I'll show you a couple of methods you can use to estimate how many sales a particular ASIN within a variation set might get. Hey guys, this is George, a remote Amazon wholesale seller who has sold millions of dollars worth of products in the US. I'm based in Sydney, Australia, and from here I buy and sell tens of thousands of products monthly without seeing them, touching them, or being anywhere near these products. I operate 100% remotely. In fact, till this day, I have not set foot in the US yet. So welcome to the Remote Seller channel, where we discuss tips and strategies on improving our performance as Amazon wholesale and online arbitrage sellers. To work out how many sales a variation might get within a variation set, you'll need the right software. You'll firstly need Keeper and any other sales estimate tools. I use Jungle Scout because I'm used to it. Feel free to use whichever one you like. You can also use tools like ASINZen or RevSeller to get similar results. Okay, so I'm just sharing my screen with you now. Now I've chosen a few random ASINs which are part of variations just to show you some examples of how many sales we might get. Now, looking at this ASIN here, it's part of a variation of 6. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different variations in this whole set. Now, ASINZen tells us that it sells 646 units a month, or we can just click on the estimator tool right here. Now its current BSR is 17,500 and its average BSR over the last 90 days is 27,000, okay? So we don't actually know of these 6 ASINs, which one sells how many. So basically what we're being told right over here is that these 6 ASINs, all their numbers combined, calculate to roughly 646 units as a whole. To find out how much each sells individually is a whole nother story. Now, the first method we're going to use to calculate how much each one sells individually is the look in the past method. So what we have to do is we have to scroll down to Keeper and we have to check this ASIN's history. So we're going to go to change the date range and go to all. And if you remember earlier in the video, I said that these ASINs, their BSR reading was combined back in May or June of 2020. So if you look at May or June of 2020, you see a massive downtick right there. So that's when these ASINs were all combined into one. So to calculate the average sales of this one particular ASIN prior to that date, we're gonna have to look at the BSR average prior to that date. Now, this isn't the most accurate method, but it is a viable method to this day. So what we need to do is we need to average this BSR out. So over here, we have a massive uptick and a massive uptick here. We're going to kind of ignore these because most likely this uptick is due to no sales or very few sellers. So we're going to focus on these parts here and we're going to try average that out. So to average this out, we're going to look at the lowest point here, which is roughly 18,000. The highest point is roughly 110,000. So if you had to make, an estimated guess, I would personally say it's roughly 50 to 55,000 is its BSR, its average BSR prior to the date that the ASINs were combined. So the next step would be to go to Jungle Scout and go to the estimator tool. Now remember, this is, we said that it's a roughly 55,000 BSR was the average prior to the date that they were all combined. Now the product is in beauty and personal care, and we're going to use the number 55,000 to calculate this number. Now this is a free tool here by Jungle Scout. All you have to do is you have to type in the number that you wish to look at. So it's 55,000. The marketplace is US, and the category is beauty and personal care. So according to this product was selling roughly 180 units per month prior to the date that they were all combined. So that right off the bat is a good estimate of how many units this particular ASIN that we're looking at here might sell in the future. This method isn't the best way to calculate it anymore. It was okay about a year after May 2020, but a lot can change during this time. ASINs can gain and lose popularity, and sales volume can drastically change after so many years. Additionally, you're not able to use this method for any ASIN that was created after May 2020. So in many ways, it has become obsolete. So let's move on to the next method, which is probably the most accurate way to calculate the sales. So for the next method, we need to check out the product reviews, okay? So firstly, what we need to establish is the sales per month, which we got earlier, roughly 650 sales per month, great. Next, we need to look at the keeper chart and go to variations. So we're gonna click on variation in the keeper chart right there. And we're gonna scroll to the middle so we can actually see both the ratings as a percentage and the actual ASIN that we're looking at. So this ASIN ends with 2QR. So we're looking for an ASIN that ends with 2QR. It's the second one right here. Okay, and as we can see here on the rating section, this ASIN gets 18% of the entire variation set's reviews. So we're gonna pull out our calculator and we're gonna type in 650 units roughly, which is what the BSR estimate has calculated. And we're gonna times that by 18%. So times 0.18. Our number is 117. So that is a more accurate estimate of how many units this particular ASIN sells per month. Let's move on to our next example. So we have this ASIN here. It's part of a variation set of 2 ASINs. Jungle Scouts is telling us that it sells roughly 470 units per month. Okay, great. Let's go to the variations part of our keeper chart. And what do we have here? We have one ASIN that sells that has 53% of all the reviews, and the other one that has 46% of the reviews. Now we're looking at ASIN that ends with VYK, which is the second one, 46%. So again, we're going to pull out our calculator. We're going to type in 470 units. So we're going to type in 470 and we're going to times that by 46%. So times 0.46 equals 216. So this ASIN sells roughly 216 units per month. Let's go to the last ASIN that we have here. Okay, so this is a variation. It's part of 55 or 50, probably 56, because it's usually 56, 55 plus the one we're looking at. So it's 56 ASINs, I believe. Now, altogether, these 56 ASINs get 480 sales per month, okay? So again, let's go to the variations. Let's remember that number again. It's 480 units per month, and we're looking for an ASIN that ends with GLC, okay? So we're looking for GLC. Let's start scrolling down and let's look for GLC. GLC, there it is, GLC, and it gets 2%. So nowhere near the 480 that we were told earlier. So we have to type in 480 units times 2%, which is 0.02 equal, oh, let me do that again. So 480 times 0.02 equals 9.6 sales. So this barely sells anything. It might sell 10 units a month, something like that. Now, of course, neither way is perfect, and no method you can come up with will be 100% accurate, but it will give you the best estimate on how many units it might sell per month. You can combine these two methods to get an estimate, and you can make a judgment call. At the end of it all, if it is the first time you are purchasing this ASIN, your best bet will be to start off with a test order. Depending on my sales estimate and the cost of the unit, when I buy an item for the first time, I usually buy between 12 units and 60 units, regardless of it being a variation or not. I might stretch that out to 120 units if I'm very confident with the item. Next, I want to see how long it takes for the item to sell out completely. If in my test order, I purchased 60 units and they sold out within 10 days after hitting Amazon, I kind of know that I can probably buy 3 times that amount the next time. Of course, I need to keep an eye out for my competition. So the methods I mentioned earlier, basically looking at the BSR history prior to May 2020, and the other method, which is calculating the sales estimate based off the percentage of product reviews a variant gets within the entire variation set, they're both great ways to estimate how many units you could sell. But nothing is going to beat buying some units and actually sending them off to Amazon. The data you gather from this is immeasurable, and it will give you the best understanding on how many units an ASIN could sell. But of course, we need to do as much research as possible when making purchasing decisions. If you have a different method you use, add a comment below. I'll be posting videos on improving our performance as Amazon wholesale and online arbitrage sellers regularly, so like and subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.